Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of Plato's Crito, and I'm got up to the section here, which in the numbering system is 48, just before 48c. So, ukun ekton homologumenon tuto skeption, poteron dikaion eme enthendi, perasthai ex eni me aphienton, Athenaion eu dikaion. So ukun, surely then, from what has been agreed, from homologio, from those things which have been agreed, one must examine this. This is what must be looked at. And we get poteron, and then a, usual construction here, where you get two options. So either, got to supply esti here, esti dikaion, whether it is just for me, perasthai, to attempt, ex eni, to go out, this is from infinitive from Amy, ibo, to go out from here, and now we get a genitive absolute, me aphienton, with the Athenians not releasing me. Or it's almost perhaps the Athenians not having given me permission. So it's from aphiemi, that has a range of meanings that can mean to forgive, but I think perhaps allowing me here. Or whether it is not just a dikaion. Ka eon men phanetai dikaion perometha edime eomen. And if, on the one hand, it might understand to be just, perometha, this is a hortatory subjunctive, let us attempt it, eideme, but if not, eomen, subjunctive from eao, let us leave it be. Now the next couple of sentences I think are fairly difficult, but I'll do what I can here with this. Haste su leges ta skepses, peri te analosios crematon, kai doxes, kai paidon trophes, mehos alethos tauta o kriton, schemata a, ton raidios apoc tenunton, kai anabios gomenon, gan e hoioi te esan, udeni sun no, tutan ton polon. So it's quite a long sentence, and you've got to take it in bits here, I think. So the skepses, the considerations which you are speaking of, perhaps almost which you are talking about, regarding the spending, from analosis, it's a noun, third declension feminine noun from analisco, to spend. So regarding the spending of monies, and you were talking about doxes, opinions, and the rearing of children. Now when you've got may there by itself, you often have to read beware. Beware lest, O kriton. Now he's used skepses up here from skepsis, and here he's using schema. They're from the same verb, from skeptomai, and it's really just variation, I think, variatio here. They're both meaning much the same thing. So beware lest these considerations might be hos alethos, might truly be, and I think I've got to go down to here, from these many. So so those considerations which you were talking about, we must beware lest that these things are truly, so as being truly from the many, and again, in opposition to all that, the ones easily putting us to death, kai anabio skominon, and bringing us back to life, indeed. So those who would put us to death and those who would bring us back to light, if they were able, udenik sun no, with no reason, that is, with no logical reason. So he says, beware lest they belong to the many. So just to paraphrase this a little bit, so these the considerations which you are talking about regarding the expenditure of money and the reputation and the rearing of children, beware lest these considerations, O Crito, might truly they might truly belong to the multitude, those who easily put us to death, or perhaps put people to death, and those who would restore to life if they were able, udenik sun no, without any reason. Heiminde epede hologos hutos hyre, me uden alloskeption he e hopper, nunde legomen, poteron dikaia praxomen kai cremata teluntes tu tois, tois emi enthendi ex agusin, ex axusin, I should say, kai caritas, kai autoi ex agontes te kai ex agomenoi, a te elethea a dicesomen panta tau te poiuntes. Again, another long and fairly complicated sentence. So, but for us, since hologos hutos hyre, now hyreo is another one of these law court expressions which can have the sense of to hold, or to convict, to secure a conviction, or to win the case. So it says something like, so for us, since the argument holds in this way, that is, the argument that the opinions of the many are worthless, so since for us the argument so holds, it's something like, beware that one must, and this is the subjunctive here from the verb to be, that one must not look at or examine anything else other than, so except, that the very thing which nunde, which we were just now talking about, whether, now the subject is we, so whether we, and I'm going to jump down to the ones ourselves who are leading out and those who are being led out, i.e. prison. So he's referring to Krito and his friends, the ones who are doing the leading out, and himself as the ones being led out. So just to recap on that there. So about whether we, the ones leading out or being led out of prison, whether we are acting, whether we will act, from future from praso, whether we will act justly, and paying money, and so both in paying money to these ones, the ones who are leading me out of here, and paying them our gratitude. So are we acting justly in doing all that, or panta tauta poiuntes, doing all of these things, will we act unjustly to the truth? So that's a rather difficult section there. I'll just do this again quickly. So since for us the argument so holds that it is necessary for us to look at nothing else other than, or except, that which we were talking about just now, whether we, the ones leading out or being led out of prison, are acting justly, or will act justly, I should say, by paying money and giving and gratitude, it's the caritas, to those who intend, those being about to lead me out, to those being about to lead me out from here. Or, by doing these things, do we act wrongly in regard to the truth? Kan phainomethod adica alta egezominoi, me u de a hypologizestai, aut a apotheneskein de paraminontas kai hesukia anagontas, uti allo hoti un paskein pro tu adicain. So he finishes off by saying, and if we might appear doing these things, so if doing these things we might appear to be doing unjust things, so if we might appear to be acting on these things unjustly, again it's the may here, beware lest. Now we get may u, don't confuse may u with u may, they're quite different. So beware lest that there is no need hypologizestai to take into account. So beware lest we ought not to take into account neither if it is necessary by remaining and keeping quiet necessary for us to die. So what he's saying is here, he wants to examine the issue logically without thinking about any of the consequences of it. In other words, we're not to take into account whether by remaining here and hesukian agontas, you often get ago used in this sense, maintaining quiet or keeping quiet. If by remaining here and keeping quiet it is necessary for me to die, nor to suffer anything else hoti un whatsoever, instead of, literally before, but instead of doing the wrong thing. Kalos men soi dokes legain, O Sokrates, hora te dromen, says Krito. You seem to me to speak well, O Sokrates, on the one hand, but examine, or literally look at, so see what dromen we might do. So again, it's a subjunctive there, I think. But examine, look at what we might do. Scopomen o agathi koine kai e pe ekes antilegain emulegontos antilege kai soi pesamai. Let us examine, my good man, in common, and if pay, it's something like at any time or at any stage. Ekes often used in the sense of you are able, with an infinitive. So if at any stage you are able to contradict me as I'm speaking, contradict me, and I will be persuaded by you, or perhaps I will obey you. Adame, otherwise, cease now, O blessed one, so cease now, my dear friend, from so often saying to me this same argument, that it is necessary for me to depart. Genitive absolute here again from akonton. It's alpha plus hekon, so with the Athenians being unwilling, so against the will of the Athenians. Hos ego peripolu poiumai pesa setauta pratain. alla me akontos, since I regard it as very important, having persuaded you to do these things, but not if it is against your will, but not if you are reluctant. Hora de de te skepsios ten arcane ean soi hikanos legatai, kai pero apocrines thai, ta eratomenon he an malista oye. But look then indeed at the beginning of the consideration, if it was spoken hikanos sufficiently to you. So if it was sufficiently said to you. And, now this is an imperative here, it's a second person from pe ra amai, so it's contracted. So an attempt to answer that which is being asked in whatever way, literally you, in whatever way you think mostly. In other words, in whatever way you really think. In other words, make sure you're telling me the truth. And Kriton al paresamai, but I will attempt to, I will try to. And that is the end of this chapter, which I'm calling chapter 9.